This exhibit came actually from a grant that I got to go to Chicago to look at the new wing of the Renzo piano wing for the Art Institute of Chicago. I had seen on Flickr that Millennium Park, which is this park next to the Art Institute in Chicago, had a huge sculpture by Anish Kapoor, who makes these large sculptural objects, and I'd first seen them actually at the ICA, but you couldn't photograph there. So I wanted to go to Chicago where you could photograph this large sculpture because it was outside, and people walk around and take pictures of themselves in it. So I wrote a grant to go there, and I went twice and took a lot of pictures and also did a lot of drawings and just experienced the space. And so after doing that last year in 2009 and 2010, I made these paintings. So pretty much most of the paintings here were made after my second trip this year in 2010. So this is a series over here that's all based on friends, people that I know, taking photographs of themselves in Anish Kapoor's Cloud Gate in Chicago in Millennium Park. And I had been there, as I said, twice already and done this trip where I took a lot of photographs and did drawings. But I didn't want to paint just strangers. A lot of my paintings of museum spaces, of course, involve strangers, although I've done paintings of friends in museums. So what I did was I just asked people if they had taken portraits of themselves or had a picture taken of themselves at Millennium Park at the Cloud Gate to give that to me to paint from, if that was okay. So these are all people I know, including myself. Over here, this is not my son, but I do have a child, and I kind of was thinking about that, even though he wasn't with me. So these are people I know in various different ways. These paintings are based on the Art Institute of Chicago, as I was talking about, and there are different points of view of actually a really kind of continuous space. So this looking down and this looking kind of up the stairs close to this area. And I was thinking these are a pair. There's kind of a conversation between the two. I didn't want to put them actually together, but when I was making the shapes, I was thinking a lot about the pieces in conversation with one another. And the shapes really came out of like a very simple geometry. I'd already done an installation actually curated by Rachel Arouse, who lives in Wellesley. It's an independent curator of hexagons all put together. And so I was really thinking about how I could still use that geometry. And so I naturally just started playing with it, and I started playing with the idea of the kind of using the rectangle and then attaching a hexagon to that rectangle. So the shapes all really came out of experimenting with the same kind of geometry I'd already used. And I just like kind of making a conversation with one another. The kind of shapes that come off, it depends on the light. They changed quite a bit. So that in my studio, they were quite different. I brought them and got them photographed, and they were quite different. And that's kind of the point of it. So using silver spray paint and making the shapes where there's shadows and painting the back of them so the color is on the wall was purposeful in that they change and shift. Because I think we're a culture that's so used to film and moving images, but I love painting and I want to make paintings. And so part of this was to play with that idea of moving to see something.